If you are an American who has spent many years studying aviation and you graduate from school and you're an air traffic controller based on skill and merit, and then you apply for a job and you're forced to fill out a biographical questionnaire asking you the color of your skin and asking you where you're from in details that aren't relevant at all to the job description, I think that deteriorates the morale of people in this industry. When you are flying on an airplane with your loved ones, which every one of us in this room has, do you pray that your plane lands safely and gets you to your destination, or do you pray that the pilot has a certain skin color? I think we all know the answer to that question, and as President Trump said yesterday, it's common sense.
Election. President-elect Trump made gains across almost every single demographic group. But one of the most notable shifts was among young men, who moved roughly 15 points to the right. Laura Barone-Lopez examines how Mr. Trump was able to court young men online by reaching out to them in spaces well beyond mainstream media outlets.
On the night it became clear President-elect Donald Trump won the presidency again, he was joined on stage by members of his family and several high-profile supporters.
This is karma, ladies and gentlemen. He deserves this. They deserve it as a family.
Including the CEO of Ultimate Fighting Championship, Dana White, who paid tribute to a group of men he believed helped sway the election.
I want to thank the Nelk boys, Aiden Ross, Theo Vaughn, Bustin' with the Boys, and last but not least, the mighty and powerful Joe Rogan.
Let me know your honest thoughts.
I think it's incredible.
While those names may sound unfamiliar to some, they are all part of a growing online ecosystem that's been dubbed the manosphere, a term loosely defined as male-centered content published on platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and the popular live streaming site for gamers, Twitch.
The press is so crooked.
It's crooked. During his campaign, candidate Trump saw massive untapped potential to reach young male voters by appearing on podcasts like The Joe Rogan Experience.
Kamala goes on 60 Minutes, gave an answer that a child wouldn't give. It was so bad.
His 3-hour-long interview has been viewed more than 50 million times on YouTube, providing several viral moments that could then be shared in clips across all of social media.
You want to start? You go ahead.
Yeah, we're good. Are we rolling?
A strategy that Trump used repeatedly on the campaign trail.
And is that a good feeling?
No.
On comedian Theo Vaughn's podcast, he discussed drug addiction.
With cocaine, more than anything else you can think of.
Cocaine will turn you into a damn owl, homie.
He danced with live streamer Aiden Ross.
Yeah, you want a drink? I'm okay.
And joked around with online pranksters, the Nelk Boys, on his private jet.
Well, Mr. President, people surely love it.
For these online content creators, the focus often isn't politics, says internet and culture writer Joshua Citarella.
These are just general men's interests, sports, comedy, things like this, looking at pictures of attractive women. But if you dig a bit deeper into some of these communities, there are critiques about modernity, women's liberation, women joining the workforce.
Citarella has been researching and tracking how online spaces, including the so-called manosphere, can shape young people's political beliefs.
How young are young men, boys, when they start interacting with this kind of content?
By age 13, 14, 15, they are definitely familiar with it through memes and clips on videos. And following that, if you maintain relationships with these people, you see how their worldview evolves over that time. Those implicit ideas that they encountered years ago can later manifest and turn into something that is a real political commitment in which they may decide to vote a certain way. So those early ideas do turn out to be very impactful years later.
What is actually...
we're going to stop it right there. So we got two pieces. Their intro showing the influence of the manosphere with the election, and then they pivot to this paid shill. Probably they're saying he's researching, so that means he's Homeland Security or think tank backed. They're making the commentary on this, and some chick who's goofy. Saul, what you got for me on this so far? Saul? Can you guys hear me? Tito.
Yeah, I can.
All right, go ahead. What you got for me on this so far?
I mean, I on one point, I feel too. I got mixed feelings about this. On one hand, right? They are kind of helping to spread the message, but on the other hand, I see this as target marking.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. It's a backhanded smear piece.
Yeah. It's a backhanded smear piece, and this is to like it, you notice how one of the things that she pointed out, she talked about boys as young as 13. So really, this is a dog whistle for all of the black and white Karens out there to probably start monitoring, what type of content that their sons are looking at. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? Actually, the bitch is right, because I have guys that's been subscribed to me. They tell me since they was like 10. I'm dead serious. I got like it's a guy on my Patreon that told me that he was happy to finally turn 17 so he can have his own bank account so he can subscribe to my Patreon, right? So she is right about very like young people. I got a bunch of subscribers that's been subscribed to me since they was in middle school. So on that part, she is right. But that's what this is. This is a dog whistle to these feministic ass parents that's out here. But this is not going to work. This is not going to work. If you are a young man and you're slowly starting to, like make sense of things that's happening around you, and you might be 13, in between 13 and 16, and the prospects of getting a job are bleak. The prospects of a lot of things that men see as milestones or goals in their lives are bleak, and you really think that your young son, seeing how bleak everything is going to vote to uphold the status quo that's probably going to keep him in a place that he doesn't want to be in the future. I mean, sometimes like a few years ago, I was with like some real young Gen Z men, and they asked me about the clubs back in the day, and I told them like all of the clubs they used to have. We had the Warehouse, the River West, and all of that. And when I described like the vibe at the club, I turned around. I had like a crowd of young niggas. They couldn't even believe it. They couldn't even believe that you just used to be able to go in a club and strike up a conversation with a woman and get her phone number.
No, I
like,
believe
they couldn't
that.
even believe that. So yeah. This is like them trying to grip onto a handful of sand. This is the very essence of what this media that you're showing right now is doing. They are trying to clinch onto a handful of sand. It's over with. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. They will have to for them to stop the influence of the manosphere right now. They will basically have to destroy the society as we know it. And I don't mean just cutting the internet. I don't mean just throttling, the bandwidth speeds to certain sites. I mean cutting off power, rounding niggas up, destroying the whole internet period. They will have to do shit like that to stop the influence of the manosphere. At this point, it's too late.
No, I agree with you. And we got basically Trump already leading the charge with regard to censorship and everything. That was the first thing he after he won president-elect. That's the first we covered it here. That's the first statement he issued. So I think we're in good shape. Shout out to Quiet Storm in the building and Mr. Art Newstyle. I'll throw your banner on the screen shortly. Saul, are you back with us?
Yes, I'm back.
Oh, thank you, sir.
And shout out to Quiet Storm, shout out to Mr. O, and shout out to our new star. Shout out to everybody else in the chat that I haven't seen. Red Sigma, Cody Marshall, and thanks for sending that info to me earlier this week. Urban Reed and the rest of the guys. But yeah, this is a way to try to do control the opposition and present yourself as neutral, using a credible source and in fact using a tax funded source to continue to sort of propaganda. So thank you for going ahead and revealing your cards, because we can go ahead and write down all of these organizations that are receiving tax dollars to kind of sway a vote one way or another. Remember, when we went and did that sort of breakdown of that researcher from UCI, who was basically trying to make it so that male supremacy scale with a fake ass, survey that he had coincided with one's political beliefs being right wing in nature. We already know what time it is. It's where, people vis-a-vis research ways to steer people. And, I think this is another iteration of that. They're panicking, and I think that the only way we'll be able to not only combat them with what we do with punditry, which is we already have the ears of people, is to institute and combat it with other research and debunk their stuff. We need to continue to do that and report faulty research when you actually see it. We need to start really taking out of the shadows these people on these editorial boards so we can see what they look like and really dig into their leanings. That'll be another thing. If we want to talk about quote unquote council culture, it could work both ways. Maybe council culture is no longer has teeth from one way, but we can use it to our advantage as far as really and fully exposing these people who espouse these views in a sort of biased sort of way. And they present themselves and attach themselves to institutions of credibility. But I don't know how this slipped by, but I'm quite sure other people are gonna take the baton and run with this here, because they tried to slip one by. I'll land my plane there.
No, well played. I agree. Like this aired the beginning of last month, so this is really rapid response to Trump's win. And you see right here, they didn't clip it up. They're about to juxtapose what Trump did on his social media run compared to what what's her face? What is this bitch's name? Harris did. So this is rapid response.
Oh, damn. You don't even know her name because she's such a fucking afterthought now, right?
Exactly.
Bitch fucked around and got forgotten.
Just like that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Detroit, yeah, we on it. We covering that next. Canceling Snoop, Soulja Boy, and the CNN debacle. We on it. Wrench. What say you to this? Basically been forced to do an immediate response piece and label the man. It's right there on the title, right in the beginning. Manosphere. It's a whole, and how we basically won the election for Trump, and they need the response. But it's still it's going to be a backhanded hit piece, but nonetheless.
Can I quickly do an addendum? I'm sorry if it's okay. If it's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Gabe, May, Man of Tomorrow, Chaotic Truth, and rest of you fucking weirdos that said the manosphere don't impact the fucking real world. What the fuck you got to say now?
Don't forget that dick ass bitch Ramil.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all were the first wave of disruptors and motherfuckers who was here to try to discredit, deny, play fucking games. Bitch, we are on to you. We've seen it. You know what I mean? You didn't want the fucking cat to get out of the bag, and now it's out. So I just wanted to double back and actually spin the block and go on ahead and put in work again on the motherfuckers, because we seen what the fuck they was doing. You know what I'm saying? To try to discredit a budding and an organic movement. Like I said before, y'all watch these astroturfing channels. There's going to be people, unfortunately, just like being bought. I mean, being bought can be go different ways. You know what I'm saying? And so just keep your eye out. You know what I'm saying? And you will know if it's stuff that's very much contrarian to the talking points of what we've gotten here to, they will show themselves. Just something to, point out. Sorry about that little addendum, but I had to.
Oh yeah, no doubt. What Saul's basically saying is,
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch.
Wrench. It's all yours, sir. What say you?
Yeah, man. Shout out to the panel. Shout out to the brothers. This is it's a prime example of what we were talking about 6 months, a year ago, and even well before then. What they can't explain and what they don't have an answer for is the experiences that a lot of these young men are dealing with, whether they are at middle school age, whether they are at high school age, whether these are brothers that are in college or brothers that are newly entering the workforce, right? They have been surrounded by feminist ideology. They have been surrounded by rhetoric that tells them everything that they naturally are is a polar opposite of what they should be. And when you have spaces like these that have been around for a pretty good minute, and they find them and they start to hear this new information, and they start binge watching, and they share it amongst each other, and they start to understand what has been happening, and they see that there's an answer for it, it is very hard to undo that. The other piece that I would say is, even in business, institutions like the HRC, which is the Human Rights Campaign that advocate on behalf of everybody except for heterosexual men and of course, heterosexual Black men. This is an institution that has infiltrated a lot of companies and grades them based on how they implement policies that they suggest, right? So it's refreshing to see Trump come out, and as far as what he says, we'll see what he do. But what he says is talking about implementing executive orders to put a lot of this shit in the bag for good. So it's interesting to see the landscape, and it is good to see that all of the conversations that we've been having and the conversations that happen across spaces like these have influenced and really twisted the arm of one of the most powerful countries on the planet. So that is a testament to the power of the conversations that we have here. It is a testament to the power of the minds and the brains that use their creativity and use their knowledge to get the message out. So shout out to Black men as always. I am excited to see what the next 4 years look like. And if there's any piece of advice that I can give to the brothers over this next 4 years, man, like you never have before, you should be jockeying for power in order to influence the next 4 years after this one. You know what I mean? We literally have an opportunity to take damn near a decade and bend it to our will as we see fit. We know what our underlying mission is, and we know that it is coming from a place of necessity. And I think that if there was ever a time where brothers can put their stamp on it, now is the time to be jockeying for power, because as I always say, it's going to come in red or green. You're either going to pay for it or you're going to bleed for it. Why not go for what you know over the next 4 years, put yourself in a position to help be a part of the bigger picture and pay for it? I'll land my plane there.